What's going on, people? Welcome to the Offside Chat podcast, man. Now, listen, I'm just gonna take a sip of my tea. You know what I mean, peppermint tea, because I'm in a good mood today. I don't know what it is. I feel calm this week. I've had um I've had worse Mondays, to be fair. Like last week, Manchester United, obviously coming to the Emirates, beating Arsenal 3-2. I thought it was going to be a trophy parade or something from the Manchester United supporters, but they seem to have calmed down. So yeah, this Monday I feel relaxed. I feel good, man. I had to check my phone as well because I thought I had to check my line. Like called Vodafone. So, is everything all right? Because I'm not really getting much messages, or I don't know if the Instagram's working. It was awfully quiet this weekend. Um, so let's introduce the team, man. The one and only Edward. What's going on, brother? How are you today?
I'm good as well, bro. It was a
Mm.
serene weekend. The ops didn't circle. The infamous wobble that is supposed on its way didn't quite start.
Mm.
So yeah, like you said, it's a serene weekend. It was good. We took care of business, celebrated our brother's birthday on the
Yep.
weekend. So it's all good, man. So we can't complain.
And Naeem, how are you, brother? I'm not gonna lie, you've aged since our birthday meal. So I knew this was gonna just creep up, man. How do you feel? Older?
Yeah, I do. Wiser, obviously, I've leveled up year on year, allegedly. So, bring it on, and bless this time this weekend.
Listen,
Yeah, some good results to celebrate my birthday with.
listen, let's really start the podcast. Obviously, thank you for everybody that tunes in. Please, obviously, like, subscribe, and share. I think we need to start at like I've been this season plotting. Like, if you know how far I'll probably do more planning than Mikel because I'm like four fixtures ahead. I'm there working it out how the points are gonna do. And I had a little master plan that I looked at City before and I knew they took on Manchester United and I thought at Old Trafford, new manager, they're going to I think United can get something from this. United got more than that. They got the win. Then I knew obviously they had Wolves there. I thought, yeah, look, that was I think the game before. I thought they're gonna drop points there. And then they were gonna go to Spurs and then Liverpool. And so far, City have done what I thought they were gonna do. Now I did wobble at 2-0 for City, but Tottenham Hotspur done the unthinkable for a large section of the fan base. Not all, but a large section of the fan base didn't want to do Arsenal any favors. Of course not. You know what I mean? I've seen some appalling scenes in the past. A couple of seasons ago, my brother Ed will be like, Nobs, let it go. But honestly, I don't think I can live this down or they can live this down. Going into a professional Premier League football match against Manchester City at home, the beautiful stadium that, Daniel Levy, God bless him, helped to fund and make happen one of the most, as they say, luxurious, best stadiums in world football. For him to provide that for the fans to turn up in Manchester City shirts. So you're sponsored by Nike and you take that off to put on a Puma kit. I mean, that alone is one of the biggest sins ever. But they went there. They didn't want Son to score. Look, it was fighting with Ange. It was disgusting scenes and a very dark day for Tottenham Hotspur and their supporters. There was murmurings over the weekend that I won't say large, but a section of the fan base were like, let's throw this game. We don't want to do Arsenal any favours. But it didn't turn out that way. It looks like they got a 2-2 draw. Edward, what did you make of this game? City going 2-0 up, your boy Ryan Cherki just doing his thing, then Semenyo with a run of the mill finish, 2-0, booze, toxic, and then Mr. Solanke turned up. What were your thoughts on the game, man? As I sip my tea as well. This tea's never tasted better this week. Last weekend I didn't like the taste. This weekend I love the taste. So yeah, excuse me with my manners, but I'm just gonna sip on this tea. Ed, my brother.
A game of two halves, man. For real. What City did to Spurs in the first half was a walk in the park. It was a stroll. It was a training ground atmosphere. City were just bopping it. Rayan Cherki was the early man in the match. I know he went off injured, and that probably changed the game for City. But the first half an hour, it was just men against boys, really. Bopping it. Just Rayan Cherki had the run of N17. He had the freedom to do what he wanted. Everything good came from him. And it was looking like a really, really dark day for Spurs. But funny enough, the subsection that really wanted Spurs to throw the game, I'm sure they would have been happy going in 2-0. Because all you saw on Twitter from a small subsection was, we don't want to do Arsenal any favours, and I want to lose. You got Spurs fans, proud Spurs fans saying, I don't mind. I don't care about this game. I want to lose. I don't want Arsenal to win the league, and I don't want to do any favours for Arsenal, all that kind of stuff. So you go in at halftime, 2-0 down, and they're probably happy. But again, football is a game of two halves. You restored some pride. Maybe Thomas Frank got into them at halftime saying, listen, my job's on the line here, guys. You're killing me. Show me something. Do something. And they rose it second half. They were much, much brighter. Solanke was a star man, scoring 2 goals. Xavi Simons, a lot has been said about him, the money he's cost, the reputation he's got as a promising young player in Europe. Hasn't quite hit the heights, but he looked really, really good in the second half. He was at a lot of the best moves, demanding the ball in space, getting out of tight areas, passing well, driving up the pitch. The second goal from Solanke, what a finish. What a finish. Scorpion kick. The first goal, there's a debate, could it be a foul? I believe it was a foul, but as an Arsenal fan, I do not care. I do not give a heck, man. I do not give a heck. I'm happy that it was 2-2. I didn't really want Spurs to win because I never want them to win, but I definitely wanted a score draw. If Spurs had won with my Arsenal hat on, I would have been happy because, again, you've done us a favour. You were working for us, working on our behalf, so you've done us a favour. But what was sweeter at the end was Rodri talking rubbish. His head was just gone. Have some self-awareness, man. You was even lucky to be on the pitch. Man. And then coming from you, Mr. Tactical Foul, Mr. Dark Arts himself, how many things have you got away with? How many second yellows have you missed? How many handballs have you gotten away with? How many things have you done and the referees turn a blind eye or VAR has conveniently missed? So for you to be crying, cry more. Hold that. I don't want to hear nothing from you, man, because you've gotten away with murder for many a year with your behavior. So for you to cry saying, oh, it was a foul and VAR and the refs, shut up, man. Shut up. Have you got what you did at our ground a couple of years ago? The second yellow, I think, was a nasty tackle on Rice. Should have been sent off. But again, you managed to get out of that one. You wriggled out of that one. So, face your front. You should have done more in the game. You were up 2-0. So why are you complaining?
I've got to say, though, Ed, and well said, but I've got to give, Tottenham their credit because Basuma.
Oh, he's handing us the first goal.
The first goal. You just, listen, you're out of the team. You've been out of the team for things outside of the pitch as well. Do you know what I mean? Ostracized, injuries are here. You're now back in. And just dilly-dallying on the ball. It was just poor. And I watched that and I thought, this is now claim your stake, your claim now. You know what I mean? You're back in the team now. Let's have a performance from you. Keep things tight. Tottenham aren't doing very, very well at the moment. And I just hate to see just possession just given away so cheaply. No awareness. It was just sloppy. And obviously they got punished. But it was interesting that they were missing Van de Ven. He's arguably their best player this season so far. And the fact that Romero was there, Dragerson, who said he never want to play for them again, he comes back and then he wasn't too bad. But Romero comes off, remember? This is the thing as well. So Romero comes off, Sarr comes on. They reshuffle the back line. I think, arguably it was a foul. But look, that's the way the Premier League is every week, isn't it? One foul, 1 week is not a foul the next week. So I can understand Pep being not too happy about that. But Solanke did well because to make it 2-1, they got themselves back in the game. Now, look, I don't want to be. I've been accused of, never giving Spurs credit and always giving Spurs a tough time. But I have to be fair as fair. I actually think that's a Rodri own goal for the scorpion kick. That's just my opinion. I think it was deflected. That's just my opinion. However, at 2-2, you could see City. And that was the City that I thought I was going to see at Spurs. Because let's be fair, Spurs have had City's number for a good couple of years now. Good. I
Yeah.
just don't know what it is.
When the pressure's off, though.
They just can't take Spurs. And it doesn't matter what season Spurs are having. Yeah, they might, have the odd one. And City have been doing this. I mean, Spurs have been doing this to City.
For years.
If you really think about it, since
Poch days.
Redknapp.
Yeah.
Even Redknapp. Remember, he marched there for that top four. And so they've always been a bit of a bogey team for them. So fair play to Spurs. And fair play to Thomas Frank. Now, I think he's a classy man. I think he's earned his right to have a lot more respect than what I've seen so far this season, the abuse that he's received. You've got to think he's picked up a team that finished 17th. Let's park the Europa League for now. So this is a team that have performed abysmal in the league. There was 3 league teams get relegated and you were, the 4th best. So he's come into a team that haven't performed. The whole style that Ange was, gun-ho, just be open, conceding how many goals, losing 22 league games. He has to come in, and when you have to come in and shore things up, it's not going to look pretty all the time. You're not just going to naturally just come in and say, this team that finished 17th, I'm just going to stamp my authority. This is the way that we're going to play. There's a lot of bad habits. There's a lot of players with lack of confidence. Because when you finish 17th, there's the same players around here. You're looking at your teammates thinking, you guys, we shagged it last season. And there's a lot of injuries as well. It's a horrible injury list. And I just think I understand the frustration I don't actually with Spurs, but I would understand the frustration with, a team, as supporters thinking, why are we not doing well? But the abuse, get him sacked. Let's lose this one so he can be shown the door. I can't believe this and that. And what you saw in that second half is good managerial tactics and a good team talk. Because that's what you saw there. You got to give credit. It's very easy to cuss a manager when things don't go well. But when things go well, sometimes you just have to tip your hat and say, do you know what? Well done. Whatever he said at halftime, he turned it around. It's not easy. There's not many teams in the Premier League that come back 2-0 down City and turn it around. And let's be fair, Spurs looked like the only team that were going to win. Xavi Simons was just balling out of control. I was just thinking, wow. So obviously he had his Weetabix at halftime. And everything just looked a whole lot better. But no, credit to Thomas Frank, because he gets battered every week from the Spurs supporters. And I think he deserves a little bit more respect. He's a classy man. The way he carries himself, all of the Arsenal, silver membership stuff, that's none of the Spurs fans' concern who Thomas Frank supports and if he admires Arsenal. And if that cup makes coffee taste better, it's none of their concern. They should just ignore that. But to be fair, Thomas, thank you very much. And listen, you're always welcome, as I said, at the Emirates for that silver membership. Do you know what I mean? So, well done. Spurs, well done. Thank you so much for that performance. You've dropped points now. And we will see you at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. And I do hope that first half performance, you repeat that for both halves. But we'll see. They're gonna rise the game. We'll deal with that a bit later. Naeem, Manchester City, I've heard it all. Arsenal, you're dropping points. They're gonna watch. Oh, Haaland, you've annoyed him now. Oh, he's cooking now. Oh, we're gonna go on a 5, 8, 10 game winning run. I know City, Arsenal are in trouble. Is it still the case?
Well, that noise, it's a lot of hot air, isn't it? This isn't the same City as 2 years ago. Let's be fair with it. I think what we've seen all season, there's no real difference in terms of how fragile they've been. I mean, first half they were great. They were picking the ball around. I think once Rayan Cherki doesn't get the ball or isn't influenced, because obviously he went off injured, didn't he? they did look a bit one-dimensional. They looked like they didn't have much of a clue on. Everything seems goes through him. Semenyo's been a good signing for them, and you keep those two relatively quiet. Haaland's going through a bit of a. He does have this odd patch, doesn't he, every season? Is it 2-11 or something? But then he will come back. He's through. He had the service, missed a couple of chances, and you don't know, going in at half-time 2-0. Was it a bit of they already thought they'd won the game, considering the mood at Spurs? But this isn't the first time, is it? Is it how many wins in? Is it 5? Is that 1 win in 5?
1 win in 5 for them.
1 win in
Now,
5.
1 win in 5. Yeah.
1 win in 5. They've spent 100 million in this window. Let's not forget on Zubimendi and Madueke. Now, obviously injuries happen, but they happen to everybody. For me, Rodri, since Rodri's injury, him come back, he hasn't looked the same player.
He's finished, isn't he?
He unfortunately he's finished. He needs legs. He needs a bit of legs around him. Bernardo Silva, you can see his legs have gone a bit. I don't think he can't play the full 90 minutes anymore. I don't know where Foden's gone. Wasn't he back at the start of the season?
I thought he was back. That little run he had and he scored, I think, 6 fooled me, boy.
Yeah,
he's gone back to that nasty Ute.
Yeah, back to that. And I think this thing is this is the same City team as last year. Slightly a few different characters. I think missing Doku a bit, but they do look very fragile and have done all season. So as quick. And one person I'll give him a shout. I think there was 2 players, especially second half, stepped like Gallagher, who I think has been a good signing for Spurs. He made that equaliser, to be fair, with his driving midfield. And I thought Archer Gray playing from right back as well. Him moving there,
he did.
He looks a very good player. So yeah, credit to Frank making those changes. I think with City though, there is a bit of they're looking for small things. The rant about the goal, the own goal, I thought it was a foul, but you're still 2-1 up. There's a lot of time still to play. You know how fragile Spurs are. Wasn't Paulina playing centre back at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
So I mean that says everything. I thought the turning point technically was them not going 3-0. I think we is it Vicario's save? He's not a great keeper. I'm not his biggest fan, but the save he made from Rayan Cherki, where I think one of the reasons, I mean, where he made
a corner.
Yeah, should have been a corner, but I think that part. I think that's one of the reasons Romero might have gone off with injury because he just done both of them, didn't he? Rayan Cherki. That could have been the turning point. I think with City, this will be them going in. I think they've got a tough game at Liverpool. I don't know how bad Rayan Cherki's injury is, but if he's out for a bit of time, I don't know. That's a big miss because he has been pound for pound. What in terms of transfer fee? I think he's been the signing of the season. For considering what he's delivered, he's 35 mil they paid for him.
I think it's like 30 million euros. It's not even £1 million.
Yeah. And for what he's returned, it'll be a big miss. Didn't surprise me what Spurs did. Actually, to be fair, Spurs did surprise me them coming back from 2-0 down. It's a toxic place, Spurs at the moment, but. Credit to Frank.
You made a fair point, Naeem, yeah, and you've made a fair point, and this is what I'm going to move on to City more. Is I was looking at these run of fixtures: Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur, and Liverpool, and I was doing my scouting as well Saturday night, feeling good, and I thought, let me just tune in to this Liverpool versus Newcastle. Listen, Newcastle started well, a bit shaky, but things are starting to kind of fall in place now. I think Ekitike was electric.
Was very good.
Salah again, of course, quite frustrating, but you could still see he got an assist as well. And I looked at the Florian Wirtz as well for the first goal as well, dancing through, and I thought, if Arsenal now, they have Sunderland at home, because Sunderland are a tough team, you got in the Premier League, you can't really start counting your points, but if Arsenal win, that's 9 points that City have to wake up on Sunday and think, right, we're traveling to Anfield now. And these guys are buoyant now. I think you're going to see Liverpool in the Champions League. I think they're going to be quite dangerous now. They haven't had a great season by any stretch of imagination. But I always looked at this fixture. And I thought this is going to be really tough. If Cherki is out as well, because if Spurs were exposing this City defence, then this Liverpool team at Anfield, the bright lights as well, I think it's a 4:30 kickoff. I think City have to pray that Sunderland do something, because if you go down to 9 points and then you go there, I mean, it could get a bit dark now. And then you're now 9 points behind. And it's not like they haven't thrown money at this again. You know, as I said, last January, they threw a lot of money at this. Summer again. And then January, look, you're bringing in Semenyo, Mark Gay. So they've thrown money at this, and they need to try to get it over the line. Everyone keeps saying, oh, Arsenal have to get it over the line, this and that. But Arsenal, fine. But the Arsenal got the best squad. But then you have to ask questions like City. Let's not go on like this. I know they say this isn't the same City, but bro, you have thrown money at this, man. Big money at this now. Mark Gay is not a joke defender to just go and get in January. This is an full England international that Liverpool were after. Bayern Munich were looking at him. Arsenal were looking at him. So it seems that with them, there's a lot of excuses like, oh, you know, they've got what injuries now? And obviously Diaz is out.
It's not injuries. It's because they've won 6 in the last 8 titles.
Yes, probably.
So,
yeah.
When you win and at the clip they've won, you get excuses. The reason why, I won't say it's unfair on Arsenal, but we have to prove you can win. They don't have to prove they can win. If you won 6 in the last 8, you're a dynasty. So I know people say that they spent money, but those are the breaks. Until we can prove we can win the Premier League, there's always going to be question marks.
Of course. And it's fair that people have questions. But my agenda here is you'd have really thrown stuff at this now, man. Like, people said that they've won what they've won. And listen, Manchester City have been one of the best teams that we've seen in the Premier League era. But there's a lot of things hanging over them, man.
Yeah, they're desperate, so they're going to spend money.
Only 6 points. Forget it's still
exactly. That's true, but they don't want to extend that. And I think if it gets to 9, then again, it's not over. I think we know, but that's going to probably take Arsenal to lose 3 games in a row, and then for City to win all of their games as well. So it's techie. It's definitely not over, but it is currently advantage Arsenal. And we move on to Gunners. They travelled up to Elland Road, battered and bruised, to be fair. I think every Arsenal supporter doesn't like to lose any game, but definitely against Manchester United is one that they just don't like. I couldn't really taste my food up until, when was that, last Sunday? So maybe about Wednesday, I started to get my taste buds back. Just fuming. And it was just the social media barrage from the Manchester United supporters. First win in 8 years at the Emirates, and you can tell they were starving. So it was important. I looked at this game. I thought it is a huge game. Away to Leeds, and trust me, Leeds were up for it as well in that first 5 to 10 minutes. I thought these guys, they wanted to see the wobble. I started getting worried because obviously we went out for my dear brother Naeem's lunch and traveled back. I thought, geez, I got to watch this game. Looked at the team. I thought, okay, decent team. Odegaard not starting. Zubimendi. I thought, okay, this is decent. Rice. I thought, interesting. And then the news comes through that Saka has had to withdraw. I was like, if this isn't a sign that the wheels are going to fall off, like, oh my Lord. I just looked up. I just thought, Lord, please deliver us today, because we can't get any bad news. This is ridiculous. And Noni Madueke, last minute, comes into the team. And for me, I think it was an assured performance. That was a performance. I remember Fergie used to say, you can lose, but it's how you respond. And Leeds are no mugs, man. There's teams that have gone there to Elland Road and they've been given a good game. I think bar the Ampadu shot, that was it. It was just a dominant performance from Arsenal Football Club. Obviously, Zubimendi attempting to make up for that disgraceful back pass that he did last week to go 1-0 up. Obviously, an own goal by the goalkeeper, but they've given it to Noni. Victor Gyokeres again. He had a very good chance where the ball went over, and I thought, okay, come on, let's run on this. But the Premier League is a slightly different to the Champions League, so the defenders are a little bit more quicker. And Roland got the tackle in, and I thought, this isn't good for Gyokeres. But fair play, fair play to Martinelli as well. Nice work on the right midfield. Nice crossing. And that is all many of his critics have been asking for Victor Gyokeres. Like, make sure you're active in that box. Make sure you're the first one to get to it. And he was. Good finish, 2-2 for him, which was good.
Won the last 6.
Exactly. And then Gabriel Jesus, a nice Cruyff turn and finish into the bottom corner. So listen, to go there and beat them 4-0, it's not easy. And I think that sent shockwaves through the Premier League, especially probably put pressure on City as well and Villa to think, geez, this team, they've lost last week. Hopefully we'll see a wobble to go away Elland Road and win 4-0. Any team that goes to Leeds and beats them 4-0, it's not easy. Do you know what I mean? If this was Liverpool last season, we would be like, wow, to go there and do that. So I'm not going to try to take or discredit Arsenal on that performance. That's how you bounce back. You get your points on the board and you leave it up to Villa and City. And we know what happened with City. So well done. Ed, what did you think of the game, man? The result you obviously wanted and more.
Yeah, it was the result we wanted. It was a way to silence the critics, silence the rival fans and all the doubters. It wasn't a vintage performance, but like you said, if you can go to Elland Road, which is one of the tougher grounds in the league, come away with a clean sheet and hit them for 4, no complaints, man. No complaints. Only Madueke got, I think, his first goal and a first assist in the Premier League this season, and I think since a calendar year. So that's good news. He had a decent game. Was at most of our decent attacks. Like you said, Zubimendi responded in kind with the goal after his disgraceful back pass last week. You know, Odegaard being dropped. I don't think we were that fluent without him, but the fact that we looked better going forward. I don't know if this is a sign of the times, as in if Arteta has been hearing the critics and he's been listening, or if this was just to rest him. But either way, he was dropped. I don't think Kai Havertz had the impact that his fans and his supporters would say he did in midfield. I think it was I won't say anonymous, more pedestrian. It was okay, but it's to be expected. I think, he's getting, his fitness back. So for him to get 16 minutes, I think, under his belt in the Premier League, after a decent performance against, Carrick in the Champions League, it can only be a plus. Gyokeres amongst the goals, which is what we need. I think he's going to have a real say in the second half of the season. I think he looks like a confidence player. He hasn't found it easy. I know he's got a lot of detractors saying, he's got a dirt, nasty touch and he looks sharp. Yeah, no, it's true. Like, listen, let's have it right. All the things people have been saying, he hasn't found it easy, especially because he came with a lot of fanfare. He banged 60-odd goals in Portugal last year. People are saying, it's the Portuguese league, the defenders are crap. He's bigger, faster, stronger. Comes to England, the defenders are as strong, as quick. So he's found it difficult. But I think he only needs is one goal, and then one goal turns into 2. So I hope that he can really be a factor the second half, because we're gonna need him. And he's our 9. And the good thing I believe with this Gyokeres signing is Arteta hasn't lost faith. Arteta's very, I won't say fickle, but it doesn't take much for him to, lose interest and lose faith in players. So the fact that he's persistent with him shows that he's either seen something in him to make it work, or he actually likes him as a player.
What's interesting, Ed, yeah, just to piggyback off that, is there's been a lot of conspiracy theories that Arteta's favourite was Benjamin Sesko. Mm-hmm. And it looked like early on in the week that it was revealed that Arteta actually gave the green light for Gyokeres. Because he's a different profile. And he had looked at Kai Havertz and him and this partnership before. So a lot of things have been dispelled because there was a little narrative that, he didn't get who Arteta wanted. But in the end, this is from a very good source that,
This is from Arteta's mouth himself, or this is from a source that you know?
a very good source. I will quote the source soon.
Yeah, no.
But yeah, I saw, and he was a different profile. Actually, Arteta, yeah, did he have a press conference? I'm not going mad. I think I saw it on Haters TV, and he said about the profile, like he liked him. He's a different profile to what we have, and with Havertz as well. You know, he could see the link up play with that. And someone made a very, very fair point. I think it was Paul Merson. Is that the recruitment might not be, I think it was Tony Adams actually, it might not be what everyone wants. Every Arsenal supporter is going to say, gravitate to one signing more than the other. Some are going to say Noni's good. A lot of people are going to say, no, he's not. Oh, we should have got Sesko. We've got Gyokeres. But one thing that Adams, and when Adams speaks, I listen, is he said, that sort of pool of strikers for Arsenal, he said it is a dream because he's got a striker for every situation that you want now. If you want someone to play a false nine and be tricky and stuff, you've got Gabriel Jesus for that. If you want someone to do the false nine or be a great target man, you've got Kai Havertz who can drop back in the 10. Or if you go, right, I just need a striker that plays on the last man. It's gonna, defenders, centre backs, runs into the channels. You know, you got Gyokeres for that. And then again, he's even had an option that he can come and bring on Miko Mourinho. Obviously, he's injured now. So I can understand when you look at the forwards, they might not be everybody's favourite. And yeah, we can look, oh, Haaland's better, Ekatike and this. Listen, that's fair enough. But when you think about a manager and we need to change things, it's a nightmare for defenders because you've just taken off Gyokeres to put on Jesus. So those Leeds centre-backs have been used to this guy occupying space and bullying them. Now, all of a sudden, they've got this tricky guy on 70 minutes, 75 minutes. It's not really, okay, he's not committing. Shall I commit? Shall I not? Yeah. He's got so many options. I think Havertz, I agree with you, Ed. It wasn't his best performance, but I think it was needed for him to get a good run out. I think in the Champions League, he looked very sharp. Great partnership with Gyokeres. However, I think he needed to get some Premier League minutes because it's much quicker. Elland Road is quite a rough. I can see him getting into quite a few duels, but I think it was good for him because of the knee injury. I think he thought, look, just go in there, get a little bit match fit, and then bring him off. Don't keep him on. We don't want to get any silly injuries. So yeah, I mean, interesting with the forward line. Naeem, what were your thoughts on it?
Yeah, I think you all made the fair valid points. I thought Leeds started first 10 minutes to first 10, 12 minutes, so they were up for it. I think Arsenal scoring relatively early because Arsenal seemed to huff and puff a lot. It was one of those games where you thought it's going to be 0-0 at half time, within reason. I think Zubimendi scoring, going in 2-0 up. I think the game was in sort of in cruise control. I think part of it was psychological. I think Leeds knew, look, Arsenal were up for it. I think a good point. I think they've lost 1 in 11 before this game at home.
Wow.
Leeds.
That's not a joke, 1 in 11.
It's not. And I know, speaking to a lot of people going, I think everyone expected it to be a really tough game. If we've given Arsenal a 2-1 win there at the start of it, everyone would have taken it, right? So a 4-0 win, clean sheet was important after leaking a few goals recently. I think you made a point. I know we discussed it previously. Is that I think he may use this like 4-4-2 with Havertz dropping when he needs to because defensively he's very strong, isn't it? And he presses that, especially with what you notice with him as well is he stays playing in that 10. He'll play in the 10 and he'll occupy players where we know Martin Odegaard wants to go and sit in front of the centre back sometimes. So I think he'll use him, especially to your point. I mean, Havertz has played what 90 minutes in a year or something with that, but so it will take for him time to get back. I think he's going to use him sparingly and coming into the back end of the season. Be interested to see what happens now with Mourinho's injury. He's out for a couple of months. Does he revert to that? You know what Arteta loves, that Havertz left midfield role. Yeah, and that's my only concern. But I thought, credit to Arsenal, a few questions were asked. Last season, Arsenal probably would have drawn 1-1 or something there. So to go win 4-0, put pressure on City. Yeah, I think it was a good professional performance. I think that's all you want from the Arsenal thing. I think did like Jesus' finishes look sharp. I think the strikers are going to push each other now. Not everyone's fit between Jesus and Gyokeres.
I don't think Jesus will start though. I think
he won't.
Cannot. Yeah, just start.
In the Premier League. I think in the Premier League, I think that was a mistake against City. against United, where we saw when Gyokeres came out, Martinez looked very, very worried. And you can see, and that's one thing I think why I can see Havertz playing just behind him and they'll play him like in a 10 role is both of those guys will cause a lot of problems.
Yeah,
right? A lot of problems. We think one does, but they both cause problems on their own.
Yep.
Lining up, and I think he's going to be similar to that, like how Thomas Muller is at Bayern. How Bayern was, he was playing in that little weird 10 role, didn't he?
Okay, yeah,
and I can see him doing that for the rest of the season. But yeah, credit. And Leeds, watching them play recently, they should still stay up. But I know West Ham. We'll discuss that in a bit. But and with Forest sort of turning a bit of a corner, it'll be interesting to see how it goes in last week's game because it was not as clean cut as he was looking about a month or so ago.
Yeah, West Ham kind of clawed it back to 6 points.
And that's
still a lot of points.
Chelsea game, and then the Chelsea game where they should have been well out of sight in that game. I know.
Head loss.
Yeah. Shout out to Adama Traore though, and that made me chuckle. But back to Arsenal. Look, Man City win 14 games left. Sunderland next week. I think you made both good points. It's a pivotal weekend. I think Arsenal plays Saturday. And also, let's not forget the Cup midweek. Very interesting to see Arsenal get through against Chelsea. They'll realistically play City play on Wednesday. The mood will be very different depending on how the game goes tomorrow as well. So as long as I think if Arsenal go through and get to the Cup final, you may see a really good performance against Sunderland, isn't it? Because first final of the year. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, man, I'm with you. I think with Leeds, I think once we scored our first goal, I think I won't say their heads dropped, but they're probably thinking, okay, cool. There's not much we can do with this team here. Like we covered all bases, man. And like Daniel Farke even said, we're the best team in Europe. That's lofty praise, man. So again, we've just got to prove to ourselves
the medals,
that we can really become a force and win multiple trophies because the squad's decent, man. We're strong in most facets. I know our attack is not the most glowing or a vintage Arsenal attack like we had under Wenger, but we're strong in all departments, man. Paul Merson was saying, listen, this squad we can bring the changes, and you got Martinelli coming off the bench, you got Eze coming off the bench, you got Gabriel Jesus coming off the bench. Odegaard. These are players that will start for most teams in the Premier League, right?
We need to talk about Eze as well. I think the only concern for me, and I think I said on the WhatsApp group, is Marino's injury. I think it's a couple of months, and as much as I think he does a very good job for Arsenal if and when he needs to. He's not the most spectacular player, but he can play in that Rice position. Worst case, stick him up top. He'll get. He's
fantastic utility player, isn't he?
Man.
He does a job. I think he's one of our testers' sort of brains and eyes on the pitch. He thinks very much. They say he's going to be like a very good coach. There's certain players, and he's going to be one of them. So I think he'll be a big miss, especially with the amount of games that are happening. He would have realistically, you would have seen that. When will we see more of Norgard? That'll be interesting. You've got Norgard there, MLS in.
I did say that in my WhatsApp group. I said, okay, cool, Mikel, trust your squad now. You've got Marine that's gone down. He's going to be out for the season, I reckon. Foot surgery. It's February now. The season's done at May.
Let's take a couple of months in it, but we don't know it.
Yeah, bring Norgard in, because what I don't want to see now is you have to run Havertz into the ground to compensate for the lack of Merino. Rice having to lock heavy minutes. Bring MLS in, maybe try them at 6 or 8. Trust Norgard a bit more, and then let's see. You don't have to start doing silly things or logging heavy minutes onto certain players and then they break down. Trust your squad. Use every possible player and see how it goes. Even bring Eze back in. Bring Eze back into the fold, man. Like, you bought him for a reason. We don't know why you bought him, but he had a career year. I rate him highly. Bring him. Trust him. Because he's not right. He's probably our best 10. Have you noticed when he plays, the ball moves quicker?
Yeah, definitely, I agree. The interesting thing, though,
go on, bro. Sorry,
Ed and Naeem, is that because we won 4-0, and we're talking about Marino's injury, we need to talk about Saka's injury. Now, I don't know how much you guys know, but obviously, I was hearing Mikel speak in his presser today, and he said that he kind of felt a little twinge in his groin, so he didn't really want to risk it. And then he said it was gradually getting better. So he's kind of touch and go for the Chelsea game. Do you guys know anything more about it? Because that is something we can't really afford right now. I know, obviously, it has probably been not his best season in terms of the numbers, but I think, like Ed has said, with Gyokeres, you reckon he's going to have a lot to say, and I think Saka's going to have a lot to say towards the end of the season as well. I have a funny feeling about them too, especially Saka. These are big games. When you think about it,
I read about it. Sorry,
to a couple of finals as well, and you want Bakaya there because you know he's a guy that takes those big moments. But yeah, sorry, Naeem.
No, sorry, but you asked about it. I had a quick. I think what I read earlier is all he said. It was a small niggle. It's nothing to say. I don't think he'll be available against Chelsea, but they reckon for the weekend he might be all right. It's his hip supposedly.
Oh, so not the groin.
Yeah, hip or groin. But I think what I read after the game, the wash up was that because of the squad that Arsenal have now, there was no any sort of tweet. They were like, let's not risk him, especially with Madueke. Okay. Available. So it doesn't sound too serious because there's not much noise coming out from it. So you're hoping he walked down the tunnel. It's nothing too serious. He misses the Chelsea game. You know, hopefully he'll be back. Even if the sun, it doesn't sound like it's anything too concerning. There's more noise coming out about Marino than Saka, which is good news. To your point, we do need him for this rest of the season.
For me, this is what Madueke was bought for. I'm not his biggest fan, but you know, we were sold that this is a backup competition for Saka to relieve some pressure for him. So Saka's gone down now. Hopefully, not for too long.
He got man of the match, yeah. So he got man of the match on Saturday, Madueke. So we need more from that.
Yeah. So follow up in the midweek against Chelsea. Yeah, man.
Yeah. And interested about that Chelsea game, that Esteval, I think there was a family
bereavement. Yeah, he's gone back to Brazil.
Yeah. Oh, has he gone back to Brazil? Has he?
Yeah. Okay. So he'll be missing from that game. I think that's a big miss because he caused a lot of problems.
He did.
For
he's the most dangerous player.
He definitely did. Right, we're going to move on to our final. Keep it short and sweet. It is Manchester United win 3 in a row. Another 3-2. This is back-to-back weeks. They've done 3-2, 2-0, 3-2, 3-2. Ed, what did you make of this game, man? Fulham at home. It's been a bit of an interesting one. Before it was a United stalemate win. But then Marco Silva has been marching on there recently. They go 2-0 up, and then it goes to 2-2. What do you think of this, man? And obviously they got the winner through Sesko. Just reminded you of the old school Fergie last minute winners.
Yeah.
And to be fair, Ten Hag had a few of them in his locker as well, man. What do you make of it? 3 in a row is not bad for interim manager.
No, they're in form. They look to be playing for the manager. They look to have regained, that sort of Man United DNA. I think it was lost under Amorim. I think the emotion of the Arsenal game almost cost them this game. I think they switched off. Okay. They were in cruise control, man. They were in cruise control, and brilliant finish from Kevin. Obviously, it was a foul on Jimenez. Good penalty. Stuck it top bins. Really, really good penalty. And it was looking like, okay, cool. Maybe the emotional toll of beating your rivals, Manchester City, and then doing Arsenal over. Maybe one game too many. But they have that never say never, man. Poor defending from Fulham for Sesso's goal. Killed the ball dead, and it was a good, brilliant finish. And sends the Old Trafford into raptures, man. But 3 in a row. It's one game a week, though, isn't it, lads? Like so, you want to see, if you've got one game a week, you've got a week to train, a week to rest, haven't got any more commitments. It should be a lock for top 4 now, with the squad they have, and the confidence that's running through the team. Got Casemiro looking like it's a mistake to let him leave on a free. Even the loss of Dorgu didn't really come back to bite them. Cunha, what a goal. He's another player banging form. And Buemo, I know he didn't score last night, but he's been amongst the goals. Bruno is dishing out assists and doing his thing. So with United, I know the fans are happy. Yeah, man. their chiefs, the fans. But well done. 1 3 in a row, 2 more, and the guy that's been waiting for a 5-match win streak can finally cut his hair. So yeah,
who's he got next week? Who's he got next week? I mean, yeah, I think that's fair. I think the front four will always cause problems. I think we said at the start. I think they play with Fernandez playing in his proper position.
Diallo playing in his proper position as well.
So yeah, Cunha coming in. I do like him coming in off the left, and then Buemo plays really well. Obviously at the false nine. I think one thing I noticed with them was they looked in control. Took Casemiro off, and that Ugarte, I don't know what he was. It was
nasty you, isn't it? He is disgusting.
I hate to say it. I think you said it. That's the best way of putting it.
Nasty, bro. And they paid big money for him as well, 65 mil.
Yeah,
he's a nasty you.
Yeah, Casemiro. I mean, they look complete. I think it was about 65th, 70th minute, and then you just saw it to that midfield a bit poor, and it's like, nah, there was a big problem there. When it went 2-2, I mean, good finish by Sesko. One, the left back. How you got Bruno Fernandes? You can't let him do that to you last minute, right?
He will kill you.
He will kill you. But Sesko had so much time. Last minute of the game to bring the ball down, and great finish. I was part of the
Sesko had,
a great finish. But there's no way you should have that much time in the box.
No.
But credit United, I do think that they're going to keep everyone fit. It's amazing how Casemiro is one of the most important players in that team at the moment. But without him, credit United. I think we are saying looking at the top 5-ish, isn't it? Are going to get the Champions League with the current coefficients in Europe, how it looks in terms of England. So top 5, it's at this point 1 game a week as to but there's no cups for them to be worried about. So they should get Champions League. And them getting Champions League, the way United being United, it's big news for them. They need to get back into that tournament. So yeah.
It's interesting because, like you said, it's top 5. I wonder who drops out of the top 5. Because Villa are still there.
I mean, there's 14 games left, and they're a point off City, right? So if we think City are, so you're looking at, I mean, if I put your head in the chopping block, which we would never do, of course, but if that was the case, you're looking at Arsenal will there. I think the way Liverpool playing will definitely finish top 4. You'd expect City to still be there. Does Villa crash and burn?
So it's Villa, Chelsea, and United with question marks.
I think they're fighting for 2 spots.
Yeah,
I think safe to say. Liverpool have impressed me. They I think they've got enough firepower as well. They've got over there a bit of a dip.
And if Salah comes back, and starts scoring, big problem. So. Yeah, I can't see Liverpool being as bad as they've been in the second half as they were in the first half. I think they're going to be all right.
I think they won't. Yes, I think they may finish. I picked them to finish 3rd still. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I still think they may pick Villa. Yeah,
so they put Villa to 3rd. So
I think Liverpool might finish 3rd. I think Villa may crash and burn a bit with the Europa League there. And then that's their biggest issue is the Europa League, because the further you go in it, that's your other option into the Champions League, and it's a trophy, and it's what Emery does, isn't it?
To be fair, I was speaking to a Villa fan that said they're trying to talk down, obviously, the title talk. They're literally going to talk that down. But they did say that they would prefer the Europa League than top 4. They just said the last time that they won a trophy, I think it's 95, I think 95, it was.
The Coca-Cola Cup.
Coca-Cola Cup, yeah.
So for them, that'll be interesting. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm watching them in the Europa League. They're looking good.
They look all right because obviously it's Emery's trophy, but a club like Villa with their history to go 31 years without a trophy, that's bad. That's actually bad.
I think
it is bad, and I can see why they want to do that. And no, it's going to be interesting because the Premier League, I think we're seeing in Europe the strength of the league. Because it just seems that the teams there, look, the Champions League group so far, obviously the knockout stage change. Exactly, it just goes to show the strength. So for them in that Europa League, Villa give anyone a good game in the Premier League. It's a tough team. I know they've got some injuries now. If they can kind of get over that, get these guys back, McGinn back, obviously.
Did they get Douglas Luiz in the end? Did it go through?
He played. He played on the weekend.
Yeah, he played on the weekend.
So yeah, I mean, that looks like a good, realistic thing for them. But yeah, Michael Carrick, I think it's interesting, man. I think that's a fantastic audition. And that's probably one of the toughest auditions that you're gonna have. You play your City rivals, Manchester City, who, as I said, 6 and 8 Premier Leagues, a treble, countless, one of the best Premier League teams we've seen. People say, oh yeah, not this season, they're not, but they're better than Manchester United, significantly better than them. And look, you go and turn them over. Then the next week, your Premier League arch rivals, the team that you kind of despise the most outside Liverpool, Arsenal, you turn them over. And then you get a banana skin as well. Is Fulham at home, and Fulham have turned us over before. So listen, if you're telling about the first 3 games, that is one hell of an audition.
I'm a bit devil's advocate to that, though.
Well, you're never a devil, man. Use something else.
No, devil's is that, if anything, you're playing at home against City, 6 out of 8 win, one of the best teams in Europe, and then you're playing against the league leaders. So if anything, it was a free go, innit? If they had played well, they'd lost both games. Carrick probably would still have come out with a bit of credit, if that makes sense. So for me, it's interesting, and maybe that Halo's effect's gone on to taking over the line with Fulham. It'll be interesting to see over the next month how he goes, and see if he should. I don't think they've got their running isn't as difficult as some others around them. So let's see.
No, I hear that, Nyman. I think it's a fair point, but I just think
I can't give him too much.
Yeah, he had a free hit, fine. However, I think if he would have lost those first 2, I don't think United supposed would be like, right, let's just give him time. I think they would be talking about the next managerial appointment. I think that's what happens. You think, oh, he's only here for a little bit, and at least he's playing this one.
Maybe.
But I haven't heard any United fan talk about who could come in next after these 2 wins.
True. Who's out there though? Because I know they want to go for like a superstar manager, but you've done that already. You've had the Mourinho.
I think Luis Enrique, which I don't think they'll get.
I think
Luis Enrique is the name that they're gonna hitch. But the problem is, if Manchester United make it into the last week, I was a bit dismissive of them. I was probably not in a good place. But if they make it into the Champions League, they could tell that manager, I've got money to spend, man. I'll give you 250, 300 mil. What can you do for me? So
the other one, I'm going to call it's World Cups, isn't it? I think they'll ride to the World Cup. There's Nagelsmann, Tuchel. Their contracts run out, don't they, at the end of the tournament?
Interesting.
I wouldn't be surprised if they look at someone like a Nagelsmann, isn't it? Who's still very young, very highly rated, or Tuchel, because he's a winner, isn't it? I can see Tuchel going to United, coming back to England and wanting to improve it, but I can see Tuchel there as well. So
I don't love those 2 appointments if they do. I mean, I don't care. No,
I don't want to get Luis Enrique.
Are you okay?
I don't want to get Luis Enrique.
In a sense that they've gone the superstar route and it hasn't worked, so they might just maybe think about, because again,
they've also gone around this name brand, isn't it? The Amarin thing might have burnt there.
But you see, United, they're 2 name brand. It's like not a man that think they can dress, but it's just everything is just label.
Yeah.
And you look a mess. So it's just like, maybe it's okay to go to Cos and shop at Zara, but you want to do everything Burberry this and Fendi
and that's what I'm saying, Ed. This Carrick, listen,
was he from H&M?
Again, it's a free hit for Carrick, but all you hear from the class of '92 and all the players that played under the most successful period is the DNA, and they know what it takes. I'm not sure Tuchel and all these men will understand the law of Manchester as it pertains to what Sir Alex Ferguson done. Do you know what I mean? So it's why not give it to Carrick?
Could do. I mean, they could bring back Steve McLaren. I mean, he knows the DNA in it, and he's now got
Brian Kidd. But what I'm saying is,
I know. I get you saying.
Also, I'm impressed with the sort of temperament of Michael Carrick. He's quite even-keeled. He's not going to, be too high or too low in the press conferences. The players seem to respect him. So it's a situation where I don't think he's a bit of a taskmaster. But again, he hasn't really been challenged. So like you said, this is an audition. He's not out of the woods yet because he might hit a nasty patch. And then, suddenly it's, we need a Tuchel. We need a Nagelsmann. We need someone that can get these players to listen to the ideas.
That's true. And maybe though, Ed, with a Nagelsmann or Tuchel, but maybe more with a Nagelsmann. Sometimes these tacticians, it's a lot of gibberish for these United supporters.
Oh, 100%.
Players. You know, sometimes you get those brain boxes. You think, oh my god, tactically, so it doesn't. It looks like it's a team. It's nowhere near Real Madrid, of course, but you just need maybe man-to-man management there, man. I know people say it's good coaching and stuff, but it's still the same players. It's
a simple game. It's a simple game, brother. Like, sorry to cut you. You've just hit the nail on the head. Look at Xabi Alonso, one of the most sought-after managers in all of world football. He's gone to Madrid, where he's probably classed as a legend. And the players were saying, brother, we don't care about all that mishmash, mumbo-jumbo, and X's and O's, and you play here, and, invert and outvert and whatever. It was all about managing superstars. That's why Ancelotti had success. That's why Zidane had success. They're saying that Ancelotti and Zidane didn't deal with tactics. But for some reason, they managed to get the best out of the best players in the world.
Other coaches, in it, who did a bit of tactics, but they were motivating them. But then when you got someone like a Zidane or Ancelotti, you listen to them, isn't it, in that aspect, because of the respect. But, and maybe to Carrick's point, that he is respected at Man United. He was a top player. Let's not forget. Right? He was a top player, technically great. I think someone made a great point. He was similar, not levels wise, but very similar to what Rodri is now in terms of a football player, in terms of the way he collected the ball and distributed it a lot. So technically, he was always very savvy, and you can see it in his team setup. It's just a personality, isn't it? Can he take him only so far? This is Man United after all. You get a bit more personalities in that dressing room, and that's where it may go a bit. But good luck to him, within reason.
Yeah. No, it'd be interesting. I think they should be looking to, to keep him on there. But before we go, obviously there was a few two more games. I think just to really just quickly touch on was obviously Aston Villa, man, at home to Brentford. I know we'll let Ed talk about this one. At home to Brentford, Shana gets sent off, red card. I'm thinking, oh dear, I'm gonna switch over now. What a finish!
Great finish.
What an absolute naughty bad boy finish. Because that finish, that was an arrow. There was nowhere else
for the ball to go.
You know what? Do you remember when the iPhones first come out? And I forgot what game it was on the iPhone.
Oh, Temple Run.
Is it that football game where you can kind of?
Oh yeah.
And then you can curl it into the top corner. That literally was just like, oh, what a finish! And I thought, listen, they've got the whole second half filler down to 10 men. But listen, fair play again, Brentford. It seemed to be a tough opposition, because you go down to 10 men, they do the low block, but it was literally a lot of sideways passes for Villa. That is a huge blow, man, especially for their title aspirations, because I know they were still flirting with it. But Unai Emery at home again. Damn, Ed.
Don't damn nothing, man. You lot was telling me title race. I told you guys. I didn't want to be that guy. I told you. Water is wet when it comes to Unai Emery. Don't believe the false position. Do not believe it. They haven't got the minerals for this title race thing. Yeah, they're doing well, but if there's one team with one manager that I know that's going to not bottle it, but fall away, it's them. They were robbed of that goal, though. Actually, no, they weren't robbed of that goal. That ball was out. That ball did go out. Decision. My bad. It wasn't a robbery. I know Redknapp tried to say some rubbish. The ball clearly went out, yeah? Whatever. But the opposition are down to 10 men, and you still lose. I'm sorry. Again, you can have dodgy results, but this is why I never believed for 1 second that they were ever in the title race. It was just a false position. Just consolidate top four. You have no business trying to win the league. Not even on the disrespecting. They're just not that good enough. They're not that good enough to try and win the league. Like you said, you spoke to your Aston Villa friend. They're choosing Europa League. And I get it. You haven't won a trophy in 31 years. Why not try to win this Europa League? And they're more than good enough to win the Europa League. Defo, under Unai Emery. More than good enough. But the title, I never believed for 1 second that they could win the title. No way. They're losing at home again. Second straight home loss. No, man. No, not good enough.
Yeah, devastated. And then finally, Liverpool. I did my scouting, turning over Newcastle, man. Obviously, Newcastle getting ahead as well. I thought, Gordon, you could have hit a barn door recently for a while. Good finish. They looked like they were really up for that. That Hall he's a player, man. I know we're talking about Liverpool.
Decent, yeah.
Very good, yeah. Chelsea,
very good.
Yeah, ex-Chelsea, yeah.
Yeah, very good player. Yeah. We're looking all right, but yeah, Liverpool, man. Ekatike looked electric. I'm not gonna lie. I think everyone looked at that and thought,
But since I think he's been about. I was impressed with him from the start of the season. He settled very, very quickly.
From Wade, from Eintracht Frankfurt days, he's been on dirt.
That's the one Arsenal should have signed. I still think we're talking about old choice.
Arsenal, I said, what's all this Sesko talk? If there's one guy outside of Gyokeres because of the goals, when we looked at Gyokeres' goal haul, you said, okay, cool, it makes sense. A player like that scores them kind of goals, bring him. But I was saying, I never understood the Sesko team. I said, Ekatike looks like a bad boy, and it's Arsenal heritage. He's French. Look at all the bad boy French strikers that we've had at Arsenal.
I mean, if Wenger was there, that deal would have been done.
They would have brought him with the quickness.
You know who else? I think they would have.
Frankfurt. He wouldn't even gone that far if Wenger was
there. Who else would have got him?
Let's not forget that 90 million. That was how much he went for.
Yeah, to be fair, that's big. Yeah, that's big money,
I think
man.
We forget that. I think
you forget how much he costs. That's how much he's been bullying out this season. You forget how much he.
No, 100%. 100%. I think. And you got credit to him,
wasn't it? Ooh,
yeah, but credit to him because you know what?
Good.
He's like, all right, you signed Isak. Let me show you, man. All right, let me show you, man, because he's impressed me more than Isak has. Obviously, Isak's been injured a lot, and when he's played, he hasn't been fully fit. So we'll see when he comes back. But credit to him playing up top by himself. Right? There's no real competition there, but he's delivering. Wirtz is starting to settle in now. I think he had a very poor first half of the season. I think you can start seeing the abilities. I think in bits and pieces, I do think Newcastle didn't help themselves. I think they missed Bruno Guimaraes a lot in that midfield.
Yeah, he's lost every game. He's not been.
Yeah, he's not been there.
Really?
Yeah. I thought first 40 minutes, it was all for Newcastle. They were bossing it. I thought they should have been more than 1-0 up. And you had a feeling, isn't it? As soon as it went 1-1, that was it.
Yeah.
Big up Kanate as well, man. Because he had his father passed away, God rest his soul. To come back and someone who just doesn't really score to score, it was very tearful.
It was, and it was nice. It was nice for that sort of thing for him as well. Obviously, to perform under that sort of mental stress is commendable on its own. And as I said, I think Anfield's gonna be a big problem for City to go to next year. I think they do. I think the only concern I still have with them is defensively. Defensively, they can
look at City defensively though. They're worse, bro.
Yeah, so it should be a great watch, right? It should be a great watch next week, I think. But defensively, they do concern me a lot. Liverpool, I think. Let's not forget they're playing one of their best players at right back, with Szoboszlai, and it's naturally, as well as he does, you're naturally going to weaken that side, and that's the side Kanate plays. So everyone's talking about Kanate having a bit of a poorer season. Look at the right backs he's had. All due respect. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But you know what? Credit to Liverpool. Newcastle, is this them being in Europe and they have a good performance against PSG?
They started well, and you could just see with Eddie Howe, as soon as Wirtz danced through and as soon as Ekatike got that finish on, you could see he was just.
They scored two very quickly as well, didn't they? There was
hold on, man. Yeah, just hold on. You got 1-0 up at Anfield. Just slow the game down, and that's probably they missed Bruno because he's good at that, man. Drawing in fouls, slowing the game down.
Yeah,
but yeah, it is what it is. But listen, guys, thank you for everybody for tuning in to this episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Peace out.
Peace.